which we would utter before Thee seem so empty and barren of what we feel and sense, that we would delight our spirits by being silent in Thy presence. We remember so many things as we wait in Thy presence. The good which we achieved when we were not really intent upon the doing of the good deed. And the good that we did not achieve when we were so intent upon the quality of the deed that we were sure of its effect and its integrity. We remember these things as we wait. We remember the dreams that we have had at various stages in our lives. Some we followed for a season and then abandoned. Some others we followed until we discovered that they had abandoned us. And now, as we wait in Thy presence, we wonder about them. We search our spirits to see if there is still lurking within the unfulfilled reaches of our minds and aspirations some goal to which we may respond that will bring into even these days that are upon us the strength and the fullness and the vitality which up and down the years we have sought. We would not close our minds or our imaginations, our Father, to the concerns that are on the periphery of our minds, because our responsibilities for them seem so remote. The concerns for disarmament, for the settling, if happily a way may be found, of the long, bloody tunnel through which France and Algiers have fought in the darkness. If we were wise enough, our Father, we would give to our concern as we place it before Thee what seems to us to be the right and the proper thing about which thou shouldst concern thyself on our behalf. But before the thoughts take shape in our minds, all that they do not say, all that they cannot grasp, all that they cannot mean, is so terribly clear to us as we wait that the thoughts die a-borning, and we can only trust that there is in thy great heart the concern for our well-being that will steady us through the days and the nights and the journeyings of thy children on this planet. And what we hope for all thy children, very quietly we seek for ourselves. We do long so much to be better than we are, to be kinder than we have ever been able to manage, to love, oh God. To love. As a background for our continuation of our discussion on the quest of the human spirit, and dealing particularly with the quest for authority, I want to read the great watershed poem that deals with the critical shift in the whole balance of authority in our society. It's a poem written by Matthew Arnold, familiar to most of you, I'm sure. The sea is calm tonight. The tide is full. The moon lies fair upon the straits. On the French coast, the light gleams and is gone. The cliffs of England stand glimmering and vast out in the tranquil bay. Come to the window, sweet is the night air. Only from the long line of spray where the sea meets the moon-blanched land, listen. You hear the grating roar of pebbles which the waves draw back and fling at their return up the high strand begin and cease, and then again begin, with tremulous cadence slow, and bring the eternal note of sadness in. Sophocles long ago heard it on the Aegean, and it brought into his mind the turbid ebb and flow of human misery. We find also in the sound a thought, hearing it by this distant northern sea. The sea of faith was once too at the full, and round earth's shore lay like the folds of a bright girdle furled. But now I only hear its melancholy, long withdrawing roar, retreating to the breath of the night wind down the vast edges drear and naked shingles of the world. Ah, love, let us be true to one another. For the world which seems to lie before us like a land of dreams, so various, so beautiful, so new, hath really neither joy, nor love, nor light, nor certitude, nor peace, nor help for pain. And we are here as on a darkling plain, swept with confused alarms of struggle and flight, where ignorant armies clash by night. But suppose even there I'm mistaken. The quest for authority is as old as man's life on this planet. Our times are troubled times because it seems as if there is a breakdown in external authority. Those points of referral on the horizon that give to the personal and the collective enterprise its sense of direction, its sense of goal, its sense of purpose. Those points that remain fixed despite all of the fluctuation of the private life. Those points that seem to be steady because they are beyond the struggle and beyond the conflict, beyond the ebb and flow, beyond the disintegration and the integration. They stand unmoved like fixed stars. And these we do not see now. And we aren't sure whether we do not see them because they're not there, or because of the clouds over our way, the heavy mist that hangs. But meanwhile, we wander, often in darkness, and the quest for authority at a time when external authorities seem to be breaking down all around us becomes even more acute. So I want to think a little while with you about its meaning. Without, I want to think with you a little. In the first place, the word itself is a very intriguing word. It's rooted in a word that means self-moving, self-propelling, self-contained, self-starter. And this quality that is inherent in the root of the word has persisted in the use that the word has served in its experience with mankind. So when we think of authority, we think of that which is in some sense not merely ultimate, but that beyond which there isn't anything but itself. So that an authority means something that we cannot go beyond, so we settle for it and relate to it. But this isn't all. Authority works out in another dimension, for it suggests the limitations that we must honor as we go away from the authority. The authority not only determines how far towards itself that we must move, but what the limitations of our movement away from it must be. So that always there is an element in authority which says, to use the words of the prophet, thus says the Lord. You can't go any further than this or this or this or this. Now man's experience as a human animal is involved in this, because there is a kind of built-in authority in the organism which says to my little finger, thus far can you go and no further. Or which says to my foot, you can grow this far, or this far, or this far, and then. So that man's experience with authority is so intimate that it is a part of the very structure, not only of his mind, but of his orientation to all the life around him. Now, why then do we need it? Even though we have it built in this way, why do we need it? Because I must have some haven. You may not think this, but let me phrase it another way. A man must have some haven against the desolation of absolute autonomy. Now think about that. I can't abide the barrenness of just being only, primarily, essentially, absolutely responsible to me, as if there is no thing else. This I cannot stand, because It takes all of the oxygen out of the air so that my soul has no respiration. I need to have somebody in my corner. Some reinforcement. Something that is for me so crucially and other than self-reference, that by it I am slowly able to come into a meaning with some feeling of comfort and assurance. For one of the persistent problems which we have in our adventure in life is we have no way by which we can guarantee ourselves against being mistaken, against deception, this against self-deception, so that the role of authority again and again is to set up for the individual something against which he can put all of the pressure of his chaos and confusion, and the thing will not give. And if it holds, as in his chaos he presses against it, the holding will structure his chaos and give meaning and purpose to his life. I was reading some years ago in some ladies' magazine about a psychologist. I think he was a psychologist. Well, it sounds like it anyway. He was writing about the rearing of children, and he was making a case what he called the fishwife. The fishwife. At any rate, the mother who screamed at her recalcitrant boy when he was behaving like his father. Now, he contrasted this kind of behavior with the behavior of the quiet mother who does not ever register, so that the little child is like putting his hand in a big pan of dough. It just sinks. So the child doesn't know where he is. He can't get any bearing because he has to be found in order to find, you see? And if there is no one who says no, and the no holds, then there is no way by which the little life can get meaning. I was talking summer before last, when I was in San Francisco. I was talking with a young high school girl. She was a senior high school girl, and she said, I don't know where I am, because she said, Mother and Daddy, let me do anything I want to do, whenever I want to do it. If I want to go out, I go out, and I come in when I come in. If one of them, just once, would say no, just once, then I would be able to find out where I'm located. Now, the role of authority is to push this just a little further now, has been expressed in our society. First, you see, I'm insisting that it is something that is built in this as a part of our total heritage. It's a part of being a living thing. This unconscious, perhaps, recognition of some automatic character to life. This is what I'm getting at. Now, the external form that it has taken is in terms of two institutions, two aspects of life. Society, with all of its conventions, its taboos, its definitions of codes, all of its legalistic manifestations. And it is very interesting, isn't it, how in our quest for authority we feel that we are involved always in an effort to overthrow the authority, and at the same time to demand that the authority be authority. It's like having a discussion group with some college students, not all of them, but with some, and they keep pushing you and trying to make you take a stand on the side of a convention that they are out to destroy. And then, when you refuse to do this, and you don't seem to take any kind of stand, then they want you to give them the authoritative statement. They want to hold you to the necessity of speaking with authority in order that they may have the privilege of denouncing this. And in their denunciation, however, there is always behind it a wistfulness. And if you wait long enough, you will see that something else has been put in its place, because we are naked without authority. And all we do is to tear down one authority because we have to in our growth and development. And then with all the agony and all the blundering and all the heartache, we build another one. The throne cannot be empty. Now, the other authority is in religion. Religion. And here in our society, it was a long time. As a matter of fact, not until almost the first decade in the 18th century before there occurred in Western thought, at any rate, any notion that the individual had responsibility, how to say this, that he had individual responsibility or personal responsibility for his life. Now, there must be some kind of custodian for the conscience. There must be some resting place, some altar upon which the human spirit may lay bare itself with complete and utter exposure, and feel at the same time that it will not be violated. And this is what religion has been doing. But it can't rest there. It has to say something about how a man behaves in the light of what he experienced when he laid himself bare before the altar. So you get creeds and dogma and theologies. And as long as men are convinced that they fulfill themselves and find meaning for their lives when they are obedient, then the authority has no problem. The authority begins to disintegrate, to see if externally, through the medium of the body and its deprivation, will the heart learn once again to obey without question. Now, in Christianity, the role of authority in the Roman Catholic Church, for instance, is in the institution itself. And this is a very logical thing, because if the Holy Book is a holy book because of the decision of the church, then perhaps the authority should be in the church rather than in the book. But in Protestantism, the authority is in the book. And this always involves such a rich variety of meaning as to what the book says and what the book means by what it says, that the logic of Protestantism would be a wide variety of authorities, all of which are focused in the one single authority, the book. But the time is coming now and is upon us that there aren't enough answers in these authorities to meet the critical issues of our time. We have to do something. We must find something within ourselves. It's like when I was second year high school, for years, since I was a little boy, I'd prayed 2 prayers at night and 1 prayer in the morning. At night I prayed the Lord's Prayer, and I prayed, now I lay me down to sleep, I pray the Lord my soul to keep. If I should die before I wake, I pray the Lord my soul to take. Each night I prayed this. And I entered second year high school with these 2 prayers, and in the morning just the Lord's Prayer. And then I began studying some equation in algebra. I can't think of the name for it. It gave me a lot of trouble, because I had no particular either feeling or sympathy or understanding anything else with mathematics. I just didn't have it. And I found that my situation was so desperate that there wasn't enough in these two prayers, with all of their authority, to cover the extenuating circumstance with which I was wrestling. So I found that after I'd finished the Lord's Prayer and said, now I lay me down to sleep, then I talked about a concern of mine which was not envisioned by these. And little by little, a sense of authority in my personal religious experience in prayer began to transcend the response to a kind of external authority that had been mine with reference to these two prayers I had committed to memory, and that I prayed occasionally, but not always, but I said them always. Now, it seems to me then that our responsibility, bearing in mind that that the role, the function is not to get rid of authority, but to see if we cannot find ways by which we can orient our own lives to dreams and goals and purposes that are here and there in strong ways and sometimes in weak ways, but goals and purposes that are inherent in certain institutions that are external to us. And in relation to them, we will have a sense of participating in a collective destiny that includes more and more of all mankind. And the degree to which in the little world where we live and function and behave, we are obedient to the authority of the vision which we see and in which we share, so that in the living of our lives, in the simplest things that we do, we will be casting our vote for the thing which to us represents the way life at its best and most significant not only can be but must be. And if I do this, it may be all the bells will ring, and all the sons of God will shout for joy. And I didn't know that a little deed of a little person could make so vast and so cosmic a difference in the meaning and the destiny of life. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil. My cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever.